After Central C dropped Doja and went viral in the US, he was finally on the path to being taken seriously by the American rap scene. And in August, while Doja was having a record-breaking run on streaming platforms, he announced that he would be doing his first headlining tour throughout the US, leaving his European tour for later. His still-loading world tour began in Chicago and concluded in LA before heading back to Europe. In September, Central C kept the momentum alive with his LA Leakers freestyle, where he would be cleverly freestyling with lyrics that decoded UK slang, translating his British roadman phrases into their American equivalents, with Euronews describing the freestyles as a gateway for other UK rappers in an effort to dismantle a previously perceived language barrier. This freestyle would go viral, even breaking into the UK top 40 and holding its ground for 6 weeks. Travis Scott would post it on his Instagram story a day later, and this was closely followed by Central C and famed TikToker Madeline Argy sending TikTok into a meltdown by announcing their relationship. Then came October, a whirlwind month for Central C. Travis Scott would bring about another viral moment listening to Central C's Doja when he was in London. And while his name was in everyone's mouth, Central C dropped the surprise 4-track EP No More Leaks on October the 13th, responding to hackers allegedly leaking his music, something that definitely happened and wasn't just a manufactured narrative to hype the project.
Hey, it's done. No more leaks. I don't know what creep, I shouldn't even be smiling, I don't know what creepy youths thought it was okay to try and leak my music, yeah? Try to get one up on me, try to get me down, try to take money out of my mouth. It's not happening, I'll tell you that from now. Had your fun, I let you have your fun, that's cool, but it's done. No more leaks. And you know what, it's none of the guys, I'm giving the guys the benefit of the doubt. We don't rock like that. Some hackers trying to get in my shit, but I changed my password, 2-step authentication, you're not getting in my shit no more. So you lot, enjoy that. 4 songs out on my Spotify right now. No more leaks, and that's that.
Some commenters called this marketing genius, and it did seem that every time he dropped, he always conveniently had a little pre-prepared narrative to go along with it. But towards the end of October, the EP's track Chapters made a brief appearance on the charts, peaking at number 69, but his other track One Up would fare significantly better, soaring to number 17. And at the end of November, Cench would bag a whopping 4 nominations at the 2022 MOBO Awards, taking home 2 wins, beating out Dave, D-Block Yura, and of course Digga D in the award for Best Male Act, as well as winning Video of the Year for Doja. And all of this success translated into other milestones when at the start of December, Cench became the first UK rapper to achieve 1 billion streams in 1 year. That was of course followed by Cench's next hit, Let Go, which smashed the European and English charts, grabbing number 1s in France and Portugal. But still, Cench and his team had set their sights on the world's biggest music market, the United States. He would make more strategic moves like appearing on infamous American streamer iShowSpeed's platform, catching a viral moment as Cench left the call after Speed got sus.
Can I ask like a personal question?
Yeah.
Like...
no, don't ask nothing stupid, bro. Don't fall off track, bro. We started this phone call.
No, this is me. So like, what is like the size of like your...
Despite conquering the UK rap scene with ease, ever since the start, Central C had seemingly always had the ambitions of being the first UK rapper to break through to America. Many Brits have tried and failed to establish a genuine organic fan base in the USA. I mean, I remember as a kid traveling to the US on vacation with my family and being amazed to see copies of Dizzy Rascal's Boy in the Corner and The Streets original pirate material in American music shops. But Dizzy Rascal and The Streets never really made the full transition to the US, despite landing small successes there on the Billboard charts. There's been many attempts since to create crossovers with the US, with one of the most successful being UK rapper Tiny Temper, who had a crack with the track Trampoline that featured Atlanta rap icon 2 Chainz, but that failed to chart. But Tiny had other successes, scoring a Billboard Top 100 in 2011 in a collab with Wiz Khalifa, and his own hit single Written in the Stars, hitting an impressive number 12 on the Billboard charts, with that song being the most successful US chart performance of a UK rapper in history to this day. The most successful US-UK collab before Cench was closely contended by Giggs and Drake, as well as A$AP Rocky and Skepta's Praise the Lord, with these collabs reaching the 40s in the US Billboard charts. But this was all about to change. When Central C started taking his career to the next level, apparently he even planned out his songs to have more appeal to the Americans. According to a Guardian interview, Cench claimed to write his bars mathematically, specifically choosing words that Americans could understand easily. And with his next musical run, Central C would not only begin to penetrate the US culture, but also completely lap the UK scene and set new records. Setting social media on fire with an Instagram story post on March the 18th, Cench shared a screenshot of his iMessage chat with Dave, one of the most respected rappers in the UK scene. Dave and Cench's relationship spanned all the way back to 2016 when they collaborated on the remix to Spirit Bomb by AJ Tracey, with Dave also getting a producer credit on Cench's 23 mixtape, specifically the track End of the Beginning. With big news coming through an Instagram post by Dave at the end of May, showing photos of himself and Central C shooting a music video, including a release date of June the 1st for what would end up being the biggest song of the summer. The Latin-infused summer anthem, backed by a string melody combined with a bouncy drill beat, was released and completely changed the game. The song was Central C and Dave's collab, Sprinter, and it would include a slick music video consisting of Central C and Dave period, going back and forth trading verses in exotic locations like London, France, and Monaco. Sprinter was a certified hit, and with the world just starting to digest what the UK charts later crowned the Song of the Summer, only 3 days after the release, on the 4th, the music video for Sprinter was already over 6 million views. Central C teased the surprise release of Split Decision, a 4-track EP by him and Dave via an Instagram post captioned Midnight. Released under Central C's Live Yours label and Neighborhood Records, the EP would drop on Dave's 25th birthday and just a day after Central C's 25th birthday on the 4th. The project stood as a testament to how far Central C had come in his career. The Split Decision EP was a monumental success, and even though its shorter length as an EP kept it off most of the album's charts, it still made waves globally, charting in Austria, Denmark, and Switzerland, and reaching number 6 on the US Billboard Heat Seekers album chart that highlights new and developing artists. By the end of 2023, it was recognized as one of the year's best projects, ranking at number 18 on Complex's 50 Best Albums of 2023 and at number 7 on Billboard's Best Rap Albums of 23. The tracks Trojan Horse and UK Rap both broke into the UK Top 20, with Trojan Horse peaking at 12 and UK Rap at 13, but the crown jewel of the EP was of course Sprinter, which shattered records with 13.4 million UK streams in its first week, the biggest debut for a UK rap song at the time, surpassing Stormzy's dance-inspired banger Vossi Bop. Sprinter debuted at number 1 on the UK charts, giving Dave his 3rd chart-topping song and Central C his 1st, spending 10 weeks at number 1 and becoming the longest-running UK rap single to hold the top spot in chart history. And while it didn't crack the official Billboard Hot 100 in the US, Sprinter peaked at number 2 on the bubbling under Hot 100 chart, meaning that it was just shy of making the full-blown charts itself. But it also made history in Canada, landing at number 5 on the Canadian Hot 100 and becoming the highest charting British hip-hop single of all time in the country, surpassing MIA's Paper Planes. Globally, Sprinter dominated charts in other countries, going number 1 in New Zealand, Switzerland, Australia, and Ireland, and number 2 in Sweden and Denmark, as well as making notable appearances in Austria, Portugal, and beyond, ultimately charting in over 16 countries. And to cap it all off, Sprinter earned certifications in 13 countries, including going triple platinum in Greece, double platinum in the UK, and platinum in the US, solidifying its status as a global phenomenon. Central C's meteoric rise didn't just captivate the UK, but it was now resonating globally. A few months after the release of Sprinter, even legendary rapper J. Cole was seen vibing to the track, and in a surreal turn of events, even former President Barack Obama included Sprinter on his annual playlist of favourite songs. By next year, Sprinter had cemented its place in history, becoming the most streamed UK rap song of all time, dethroning Central C's own record with Doja. Riding high on this success, Central C achieved another groundbreaking feat in June, when he was named as part of the XXL freshman class, making him the first male UK rapper to be included, and the second UK rapper on the list since Stefflon Don was included in 2018. Now, being a XXL freshman is kind of weird. Just like how Sench said when he won his Mobo for Best Newcomer, he wasn't really a newcomer. It would be strange to call a rapper who at this point had been making music for 10 years a freshman, but it was still a good look for Sench. Online discussions would point out that both Central C and Glorilla were already bigger than the XXL freshman list itself. However, still recognizing the importance of the inclusion, Sench would take the time to introduce himself formally to his new American audience.
International. If you haven't noticed by now, then I'm from the UK. I think being an international artist is a mission that I'm currently on, so yeah, international.
And when speaking with XXL, he acknowledged the historical importance of being on the list, calling it a big statement for UK rap. Arguably, while he was no longer a freshman musically, he was indeed a freshman to the US market, who was just beginning to respect the budding British MC. But while all this was going down, Central C was making his biggest power move yet. On June the 23rd, 2023, he signed a 2-album joint deal with Columbia Records in partnership with Sony Music UK. This would mark the end of his allegedly independent streak as he transitioned to working with one of the biggest labels in the world. Hip-hop's top commentator DJ Academics would take to a live stream talking about the deal and its rumored amount.
I always heard the number he wanted was at least 20, and I'm hearing that he got $25 million in terms of a record contract.
The deal, rumored to be worth $25 million, was an insane amount, which Sench would later confirm in lyrics on his song Limitless. DJ Academics broke down the specifics of the deal, highlighting Columbia's role.
He's from the UK. The deal he signed with Columbia Records supposedly is only for the distribution of his music in the US.
And giving his thoughts on Central C's success in the US.
You remember there was a time that people used to look at UK artists and maybe it was the accent or whatever that kind of fucked them up. I think Central C is the guy. By the way, obviously, I love, like, for example, Dave. Like, Dave's my guy from the UK as well. But, I think Central C kind of connects with this young kind of drill very popular TikTok wave.
With the backing of Columbia, Central C begun laying the groundwork for his highly anticipated debut album, Can't Rush Greatness. The momentum carried into July 2023 when Central C achieved his first US chart success through a major collaboration with one of the first US artists that fully embraced the UK scene, Drake. While Drake has faced accusations of being a culture vulture for jumping on the UK drill wave, his love for UK music is undeniable. From sporting a Boy Better Know tattoo from 2015, showing love to the British grime record label founded by brothers and grime legends Skepta and JME, Drake has been closely associated with the UK scene so much that in 2019, the BBC ran an article listing 7 reasons why Drake deserves British citizenship. Drake was one of the first people to put on UK rapper Dave, providing him with an early remix that boosted his career, and in that BBC article, it also revealed that after Drake collaborated with Giggs, with a couple of songs on his project More Life, Giggs' streaming figures actually rose by 146%, and these placements actually landed Giggs 2 prestigious rankings on the Billboard Hot 100 in the top 50. With Drake and Sench already having established a rapport during Sench's previous run in Hollywood, apparently these two became friends on that trip, with a bizarre run-in where Drake actually tried to gift Central C a Rolex and Sench rejected it, saying that he was already wearing that exact watch. But it wasn't just watches, Drake was giving Central C opportunities as well, deciding to put him in his Nike Nocta campaign after meeting him in 2021, as well as giving him a cameo in his Jumbotron Stuff Poppin' music video, and even brought him out during a performance in the UK. Sench and Drake had linked up again during Drake's It's All a Blur tour, stop in New York, where this time they would put together a full-blown musical collaboration, which came in the form of a joint freestyle on the New York-based radio station and YouTube channel On The Radar, which would prove to be one of the most significant cosigns of Central C's career to date. On the track, Sench boasted about his rapid success, comparing his earnings to that of professional athletes from the NFL and NBA. In the UK, this freestyle peaked at number 26 on the charts, but its impact extended far beyond the UK. Most importantly, it marked Central C's first entry onto the US Billboard Hot 100, debuting at number 80. And while it only stayed on the chart for a week, it was a huge milestone for Sench, confirming his presence in the US market. And Drake's support didn't stop there. He would invite Sench to perform on the final 16 dates of his It's All a Blur tour, which became the highest grossing hip-hop tour in history at the time. Sench performed at every show, delivering tracks from his catalogue like Day in the Life, but after the tour, his momentum didn't slow down. In late October, he featured on the Kid Leroy's track Too Much, alongside BTS member Jungkook. This international collaboration would pay off, with the song spending 5 weeks on the UK charts, peaking at number 10, and becoming Sench's second entry on the Billboard Hot 100, outperforming his previous entry with Drake by 36 spots, peaking at number 44 and remaining on the chart for an impressive 6 weeks. Sench's next feature came in November 2023 on Pink Pantheress's track Nice to Meet You, peaking at number 20 on the UK charts, and Sench wasn't showing any signs of slowing down. But in February 2024, he made a rare misstep, dropping the soppy love song I Will that marked a huge change in style and tone from the usually gangster Central C, choosing on this song to dust off the auto-tune and have a little sing-song. This is without a doubt Central C's worst song. In my opinion, at this point, him and his team were probably drunk off success and thought for a moment that they could abandon the tough guy persona that he'd just spent 10 years building, instead positioning Central C as a pop singer to try and capture the hearts of his Gen Z audience of TikTok scrolling teenage girls. I can just imagine Sench and YBs rubbing their hands together like Birdman in the meeting about this song. Now, the track would peak at number 18 on the UK chart, so it wasn't necessarily a complete failure, but the song was noticeably absent from any of his major projects, and in my opinion, it represented a massive creative misstep by Sench and his team. Unanimously voted as the worst song of his career by fans in his subreddit, from here, Sench and his team would correct course and put him back in the lane that was working for him. Sench continued to chase the US market, linking with J. Cole for a collab called HYB, with the song being the lead single for J. Cole's surprise mixtape, Might Delete Later, released the same day. Sench would show his gratitude by sharing a heartfelt Instagram story of his messages with J. Cole, capturing it with a goat emoji. HYB itself became Central C's highest charting US entry at the time, peaking at 35 on the Billboard Hot 100, meaning that he had officially surpassed both Skepta and Giggs' chart records for US collabs. But he missed out on beating the record set by Dizzy Rascal's previous collab with Shakira that came in at 3 positions above on the charts. But that record wouldn't last for long. Having scored more wins in the States, it was soon time for Sench to make his biggest move yet. On May the 23rd, Sench dropped the lead single from his upcoming album, the song Band for Band, featuring Atlanta rapper Lil Baby. On a high-energy drill anthem that Billboard described as a certified trunk rattler, the hook was instantly catchy, with Sench and Baby going back-to-back, bragging about how no one has as much money as them. And the music video was epic too, showing Sench and Baby touring around London, with Lil Baby holding wads of British pounds and flexing expensive jewelry and getting around in a convoy of Lamborghini Urus SUVs. The song was a massive success, and it peaked at number 3 on the UK charts, spending 13 weeks on the charts, but more importantly, in the US, it peaked at number 18 on Billboard and spent an insane 17 weeks on the charts. This made Band for Band Sench's highest charting position in the US so far, and the second highest charting UK rap single in history, with Tiny Temper's record at number 12 still having Sench beat. Regardless, this was a huge milestone. Globally, Band for Band charted in at least 14 countries and broke records, including the biggest streaming day for a UK rapper on Spotify with 5.26 million streams, a record previously held by Sench's own track Sprinter with Dave. And by the end of the year, over 390 million global audio streams, it became the biggest selling UK rap song of 2024. Sench's Billboard breakthrough would be followed by another high-profile collab with Bronx spitter Ice Spice on the track Did It First, which was part of Ice's Y2K album. While the album didn't really do as well as people were expecting, her collab with Central C, Did It First, definitely did stand out, landing at 15 on the UK charts, and in the US landing at 51 on Billboard. But Sench wasn't just making headlines for his music. In August, he was spotted with legendary Chicago rapper Lil Durk, sparking rumors of a potential collab. In early September, Sench would release his next single, Moi, featuring British singer Ray. This track, with elements of dance music, showcased a unique blend of singing and rapping in both English and French. Moi spent 3 weeks on the UK charts, peaking at number 38, and by October, the rollout for Sench's debut album, Can't Rush Greatness, was in full swing. Sench announced the album in the most American way possible, live during an NFL football game.
Inspired by Central C's highly anticipated new album, Can't Rush Greatness, coming soon.
And later, Sench confirmed the album cover and release date on social media, with the cover showcasing a legendary chain designed by leading London ice makers A Jewelers. On the 24th of January 2025, Central C finally cemented his place in the history books of UK rap, releasing his debut album Can't Rush Greatness. The project truly lived up to its name. 11 years in the making, Sench certainly didn't rush, but he certainly did deliver greatness. This project, in my opinion, is probably the best UK rap album that's ever been released. And that's not just me glazing Central C, but the mission for this project was clearly to create a rap album that was quintessentially British and stay true to Sench's identity, something that perfectly encapsulated British rap culture in 2025, packaged up in a way that would appeal to fans all over the world, especially in America. The album was a masterclass that saw C planting the flag and creating something that no British rapper had ever done before. A rap album that would cut through the cultural barrier and give the country something to be proud of and get behind. And from the first song, Sench made his intentions clear. From the very first bars, bragging how every time he touches the mic, he reaches people all over the world, from Europe to Asia, the Middle East, and Oceania. He would also drop numerous references to American culture throughout the song to appeal to that audience too, shouting out people like Lil Durk and King Von, and bragging how the moves that he made in America helped other UK rappers do it, and also firmly bringing it back to the UK culture with tongue-in-cheek bars, comparing drillers to wizards from Harry Potter, and saying that the gangsters are running around hunting ops with wands. After establishing the tone on the track, C would reminisce on how life had changed for him in the last 5 years since dropping his Mad About Bars episode, opening with those same aspirational bars that he used on the song, a subtle nod to the fact that he has indeed achieved all of those things and more, saying how he used to make a living off crime, but now he's living a righteous life, and again referencing murdered US rapper PNB Rock, saying that he has to be careful not to suffer the same fate. He would stoke some controversy, dissing fellow white British rapper H, and moaning how he was pissed to lose at the Brit Awards to H, as he was planning to say long live F. in his speech. It was an interesting throwback to diss H, considering Sench's earlier bars about demanding the same record deal that H was given. Now, H was really not happy about this diss, and he would clap back in a savage diss track where he would accuse Central C of being a fraud, not writing his own lyrics, and even telling him to go slide on Digga D. But anyway, back to the album. On that same song, Sench would rap about how he had finally achieved his goal of getting a huge house in the country, and dissing his ops for staying in the hood, saying that he can find out where they stay. H wasn't the only one getting dissed, as Sench would seemingly diss Digga D too, and rap about firearms, bragging that his gang has bought better guns now. And then, in a pretty wild diss, he says that his ops can't keep his name out of their mouth, and that it's sus, and hinting that they might actually be romantically attracted to him. And he would end the track sampling Kenny All-Star's original cosign, showing that Kenny was spot on with his predictions of Central C being a star. He'd push for another international hit with the song Gata, featuring Young Miko, and on the next track, St. Patrick's, he would sample the Wu-Tang Clan and reinterpret their money-worshipping anthem Cream, Cash Rules Everything Around Me. In an interesting bar, Sench would admit that the rap, gang, and street beefs go hand in hand, a reference to Digga D, then boasting how as a result he's been investing his money into handguns, as well as later claiming that he tells his friends not to speak about crime on the phone as he worries his phone might be tapped, following that up with lyrics that seem to suggest that he gives his friends missions to go and ride on ops with their location and expressing frustration when things don't go to plan. He would also drop an iconic bar saying how Americans always laugh when he says bottle of water, bottle of water, bottle of water, bottle of water, and ending the song with another nostalgic milestone from his career when he won his MOBO award in 2021. The next song was his blockbuster collab with 21 Savage titled GBP, an anthem that was probably strategically crafted to appeal to crypto nerds, with lyrics referencing GBP and USD currencies. But interestingly, this song was heavy on the gang talk, as the hook had Central C brag how he could have someone shot in front of a crowd for £100,000. Elsewhere in the song, there was extensive references to firearms, and once again, this song sounded like it was planned strategically to appeal to Americans, with C rapping all the street hustles that he would have done if he was from different parts of the states. He would also diss Digga D again, saying that if his ops were nominated for the Brit Awards, then he would have taken guns there, this being a reference to his 2022 nomination for the song Obsessed With You, and the fact that Digga D has never been nominated for a Brit Award of any kind. The collab with 21 Savage itself was genius, as Savage had gone viral a few years ago when it emerged that he was actually born in the UK before moving to Atlanta as a child, and in his verse, 21 would mirror Central C, dropping back-to-back bars referencing UK culture. Now, GBP didn't quite match the hype of Sench's explosive exclusive collab with Lil Baby, Band for Band, but it still ended up landing him another entry on Billboard's Hot 100 Songs charts, landing at number 92. But back on Can't Rush Greatness, the next song, The Top Freestyle, would see Central C musing on how far he had come from being a West London shotter to a mansion-dwelling millionaire rapper, and he would claim that if you touch him now, his people will shoot you, and saying that his crew carry knives every day and guns only on special occasions, at least in the days before he blew up in America and started attending Michael Rubin's exclusive white parties, as well as seemingly low-key admitting his fake persona, saying that he doesn't understand why people talk down on him for trying to get paid, and saying that he's just playing a chess move and playing GTA with the cheat codes on, as well as bragging how he single-handedly revived the rap game in the UK. The tough talk would continue on the song Up North, where C raps about his crew sourcing firearms from the more dangerous northern parts of England, shouting out his gang comrade K1, saying that he'll jump out of cars and kill people, and seemingly admitting to carrying a tactical knife personally and being in parties with his friends carrying loaded guns, as well as dropping some more shade on Digga D, saying that he's living the high life in America while his ops haven't been out the hood, and when they drop music he listens carefully because he's studied the art of war. The song would end with an outro speech from prolific Birmingham ex-armed robber Broadday Blakes, who speaks about how dangerous the gangs are up north compared to the rest of the UK. He would have another collab with Dave, which was the title track of the album, a fitting sequel to Sprinter which had a similar vibe, and heavy doses of Central C rapping about gangs, guns and knives, as well as boastful bars about his mansion having a name and not a number, and having 25 million off of his record deal, being the only UK rapper to make it to Hollywood. The track Limitless, inspired by the Bradley Cooper movie, saw Central C comparing his life to the film and reflecting on how far he'd come and how much money he'd stacked, as well as bars where he appeared to contemplate using his money to arm his gang, and saying that while he's not the one riding, he's the one deciding whether the war continues. The album also included the much anticipated collab with Lil Durk, along with a music video released on the same day of the album and recorded on Durk's trip to Europe just before he was arrested for a murder for hire, which I covered in my last video. This was followed up with a legendary collab with the now second most iconic British rapper abroad, Skepta, with Central C ranting about how he can put hits on people and sending his goons to come and swing a Rambo knife at his ops, and seemingly commenting on desiring more guns and how his brother nearly died when he got stabbed by Digga D, again dissing Digga and saying that his clique has guns but he doesn't beef Digga, suggesting that his ops only talk about him to hype up their music, as well as naming 2 of his 12 anti-members, K1 and A2, for being stabbers and shooters respectively. Halfway through, the beat would switch up to a more aggressive tone and Sench would activate Grease mode, rapping about sending his young G's to shoot up his ops shows. The track Must Be was one of the most interesting songs on the album, as it seemed to be Sench's opportunity to both address the allegations of his street persona being fake, but also, I feel if you read between the lines, in some places, it seems like Sench is actually admitting to faking his street ties for the sake of success. The song starts with a snippet from the Realer Than Most podcast hosted by Young Spray, in an iconic clip where Spray asks his co-host Chronic what's the definition of real, with him replying, shooting people for your friends is the realest thing you can do.
What's your definition of real? Or what do you look at as real?
Shooting people for your friends.
Shooting people for your friends.
Yeah.
After this, Sench starts rapping, responding to the clip, and asking the audience what's their definition of real, going on to say if it's something like them, then he must be fake. Now, I think this is interesting because if you consider the bars that come right after this clip, Sench is essentially saying that if shooting people for your friends is real, then he must be fake. Or another interpretation could be that he's referring to Digga D, saying that if he's what people in West London consider to be real, then Sench must be fake by comparison. This is relevant because Digga D is certainly someone who shoots people for his friends, and as the song goes on, there's more and more lyrics that make me think this entire track is dedicated to Digga. As Sench goes on to end the hook, saying that when his ops ask where he is, he actually gave them an address, but they never turned up and just continued talking on the internet, and following that up by saying that the whole point of getting rich was to get out of the hood and out of the hood mentality. He goes on to rap that beefing over postcodes and going to jail, leaving your mother alone, struggling, is what's really fake. Clearly a shot at Digga D and his incarceration at this point, Sench goes on to say exactly what his ops say about him, that living a life that isn't portrayed in your music is fake. And again, in a lyric I think's going at Digga directly, inferring that he lied when he claimed that he stabbed his brother and calling him fake. The final track, Don't Know Anymore, saw Sench addressing his former friends Cairo Keys and Bambino, who turned on him after his success, breaking down all of the ways that he tried to help his friends who still turned on him, and ending the song and album by pondering if breaking away from his friends was the real reason for his success. There was a lot going on the album, but even outside of it, Central C was doing the most to promote it, popping up in a very well-timed live stream with Plackboy Max, grabbing a viral moment after his previous stream with Fabio Foreign and Lil TJ went left. Now, I personally love the Can't Rush Greatness album, and I was incredibly proud of Central C and what he had done for the UK rap scene, but of course, the most important thing was the numbers. Central C would land the #1 spot on the UK charts, but that was hardly a surprise. Numbers-wise, he scored the biggest streaming day one total of all time for a UK rapper on Spotify, but sales-wise, he ended up moving a total of 42,000 units. Now, a great achievement in this day and age, but significantly less than other pioneers of UK rap like Tiny Temper, who scored 85,000 first week sales on his Discovery album. Now, I'm not trying to talk down his achievements, but the fact is, Sench's debut was simply not as big as Tiny Temper's, and even other UK rappers like Storm Stormzy had Sench beat in first week sales on his recent album launch too. But regardless, Sench had already had a #1 in the UK with his earlier mixtape, and his album going #1 was certainly inevitable. But the real test would be his performance on the US Billboard charts. And in the end, despite all of the talk of him doing bigger streaming numbers than Lil Baby's #1 album, Wham!, Central C's album didn't reach the same levels of success as Lil Baby's. Can't Rush Greatness ended up moving around 37,000 units in the US market, going #9 on the US Billboard charts. This was an interesting result, because from a UK perspective, this is still a monumental win. This was arguably the most successful UK rap album on the US charts in history, with this being the first ever Billboard top 10 that a British rapper has ever achieved. And from the perspective of handicapped UK rappers who are rarely taken seriously by Americans, this was indeed a win. But in reality, for all of Central C's boasting of dropping music and competing with Americans, and reports of him having better numbers than Lil Baby, failing to hit that #1 spot in America was probably a little bit disappointing. Yes, he's by all means the most successful rapper to have ever come out the UK, but really, he didn't quite manage to compete with the American rappers on the level that some people were expecting. We've definitely got to give Sench a big pat on the back for going top 10 in America, but in many ways, Sench's next move is probably going to be the hardest. Because now the question is, will he be able to evolve beyond drill music and make more commercial music that can take him even further in the US charts, like British musicians from other genres? Or has he taken this persona as far as it can go? Central C hasn't quite made it to the top yet, and arguably he's got to be careful about the next steps that he takes and make sure that his ego doesn't get ahead of where he actually is. His recent comments after the release of the album, claiming that he was the reason that Americans started wearing Nike Tech tracksuits, was honestly quite embarrassing, and I think it actually might have made him lose the interest of a few Americans that were just about to take him seriously.
I'm humble in it, but at the same time, I like to think that man put like a lot of man onto the Nike Tech thing. And you see the influence even in like America, people be rocking the text like it's like they're us.
Now, I personally think that a British rapper could potentially take the #1 spot on the Billboard charts, but the question is, will it be Central C, or will somebody else take the formula and perfect it even further? He's going to need to evolve if he wishes to keep climbing, and with another album still outstanding in his insane £25 million deal with Columbia, we're certainly going to be seeing him try. So, huge congratulations to Central C for doing what very few rappers have been able to do, but the story isn't over yet. He still hasn't quite achieved greatness. For now, Tiny Temper still holds the records for the biggest debut of a UK rap album and the highest charting position for a UK rapper on the US Billboard charts at #12. As a fan, I'll continue watching Central C closely, and I'll be rooting for him to break those records. Because at this point, if anyone's going to do it, it's probably him. Anyway, I hope you found that video interesting. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.